love you, bitch.
Oh my god.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
welcome, friends. How is everything going? How are we all doing? Sorry, I'm messing around with my settings again. I don't know why OBS likes to change things on us randomly, but it does sometimes, so I have to just mess with my sound settings pretty regularly, but that's okay. But yeah, hey, how's it going? How are we all doing? Hope you're well. Gonna do more Deadly Premonition tonight. I'm excited about it. I have been waiting all dang week to get back to this game. I mean, we've been waiting longer than that, technically. But, yeah, it's here. We're ready. And, so, trying to think if there's anything else that I, like, really need to say, but I don't think so. So I think we're just gonna, like, start. Like I said, I hope everyone's doing okay. Hey. Hey, volume. There you are. I hope that's not too loud. But if it is, as per usual, let me know. We will try to fix it. Also, grip and rip it while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, we really just got kind of like through the, not even like the full tutorial really, last time we played, which is fine. It'll be great to finally get to a point in this game that we haven't played previously. But until then, what the heck are the controls? I found a crouch. There's aim. There's run. Wait, I found the flashlight button. It's all good. What is this? Coffee? Milk! Yeah. I'm stoked. I'm excited. I want to know what nonsense we can get up to as York. Doing just fine. Everything is great. We've just gotten into town. How's it going, Legis? How are you doing? We got... There's an egg in the microwave. Because why wouldn't there be? Is there gonna be another one? No. Okay. Hey, Polly! What is happening here?
Oh, hi.
If you need anything, you can find me at the front desk. I sell daily goods to guests. I don't have much, but they may help you out. So you're the sales girl too, aren't you? Yes, that's right. Coffee comes as a set with the breakfast. Don't worry, the service here is just as good as any fancy city hotel. Great, thank you. Alright then, did you want something? I wanted to talk. A stove? Can't say I've ever thought to put an egg in the microwave. If you're heading out, I should warn you, don't be out too late. There's been a lot of trouble in these parts recently. Trouble? You know, the terrible murder. It's just so scary. Very true, but I am, you know, looking for the murderer. It would be so much easier if the killer would just show up and try to kill me. Oh, don't say such horrible things. Well, you gotta risk something to gain something. Oh, Mr. Morgan, I'm not that kind of lady. Polly, please. Zach, I think she's misunderstood us again. We got stuff for it, though. Let's just go. Let's just go. I kind of just want to rush up to... Great. I want to kind of rush to the, meeting at the city hall or whatever, because that's like where we left off, but there's so much that we kind of did in between. No, well, there's not even really that much. We drove around a ton. Captain Fozzie, thank you for the follow, friend. How's it going? How are you doing? We love you. There's that dubious turkey sandwich again. Oh my god. Also, the music.
A police car.
Yes, York. Yes. Our office is open from 9 to 1700 hours. Don't be late.
So we have
9 to 5.
King George to thank for preparing a car for me. A pleasant surprise, eh, Zach? Let's take it for a spin.
So dramatic, and I love it so much. Oh god, I'm gonna have to relearn how to drive a car, aren't I?
I have to tell you, Zach, this place simply amazes me.
Yeah?
The keys were left on the front hood, and nobody stole the car. Values. This town has what the
That
country
awkward
needs.
pause, though.
Values. Let's head over to the sheriff's department.
We got the good whistles. We got values. 10-minute pause. Okay, hold on. We've got a boost. We got brakes. We got accelerate and side brake. Oh, good. I'm glad that there's a honk button. Wipers on, wipers off. Signal left, signal right. Wow. Very intuitive. Gotta say. Thank you for the flare? Oh, God. Oh, This is a dead end! Those are the brakes. Okay. Does the boost? The boost is also the siren, isn't it? Please. Car. No.
So, Zach,
Talk. Okay. Let's get
about
all
those
that good
bonus features in
movie
DVDs
content.
nowadays. You know, the ones from the 80s have almost no bonus material. Even if they do, it's a trailer and the visual quality is pretty bad. Well, that
This
visual
car
quality is a good reminder
handles
of those
like
days.
shit.
So many new audio and visual appliances were coming out back then. Do you remember the first video deck we bought? We bought it to record one of the Star Wars movies on TV. And remember when that video store opened, we spent hours there, just trying to find a good movie to rent. There weren't that many to choose from back then. I remember renting some really bad ones after reading those back cover taglines.
York
Hey,
really
remember?
likes movies.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, filmed in 1978. Produced, directed, written, and edited by John DeBello. It was really awful, but for some reason I still remember it pretty well. It had
We
so
like
many
bad films
sequels,
here.
and the original was re-released in '95. The 87-minute-long theatrical release bumped up to a whopping 90 minutes. But that was around the time I joined the Bureau. I never have a chance to see it.
Where?
I know, Zach.
is
Once
this
this case
building?
is over, we can watch it together. I bet we can buy a copy on the internet pretty easily.
That good old internet. I have no pressing commentary on this right now. I am focused on trying to drive. It's so bad. It's okay. It's okay. It's over here. Yeah. Bye. Look, York's a good boy. He would never, ever illegally pirate anything. Hi, Bunno. Hi, Fruity. I'm also glad that we're back to this.
That's one fine building for such a small town. The exterior woodwork is spectacular. Don't you agree, Zach?
Oh, wow. Anyway, how's everyone doing? How are y'all? Welcome in. Get comfy. It's gonna be a wild fucking ride. Hi, Thomas. You sleepy? I love Thomas.
Pleasure to meet you, Agent Morgan. We've been expecting you.
I'm Thomas McLean, the sheriff's assistant.
Love you, Thomas. Also, the music. His hair is so
FBI
lumpy.
Special Agent Francis York Morgan.
Um,
Please just call me Bill. It's what
it's a
everyone else
very
calls me.
good run.
Very well then, Agent York.
I believe I owe
That's
you
a
a thank
fucking
you for retrieving my
DVD.
belongings from my car.
But yeah, you gotta
Thanks.
be here for this.
Oh, no, just doing my job. I just, well, I want to help do everything I can to help the investigation.
Just make me some delicious
I just can't
meals.
believe Anna was murdered.
It's gonna be great, Thomas. Don't
She
worry
was
about
such a
it.
bright and lovely girl.
Did you know her well?
Well, no, not really. But it's a very small town.
You hear
I'm
things.
sorry. It's just that this is the first really big case I've ever
He's
seen.
so awkward.
I understand. Just try to relax. Can I have a look at Anna's file now?
Thomas.
Yes, of course. The sheriff told me to let you through to the meeting room,
Oh my
but
God.
lost the key to the cabinet where the
Oh.
files are.
Sick flips.
Why don't you take a look around
Minecraft.
while I go look for it?
Okay. Let me know when things are ready.
Why is the music so good? Why
Zach,
is Thomas so
appears
great?
to be the kind and sensitive type, totally at odds with the monarch.
Why is there
good
what
setting
is
for a
up
cartoon.
with the meshing on York's face? I thought it was like veins for a second, but then it just traveled across his face. We love the wax figures. They're very good. Look at them. Look at them. I thought those were eyebrows, but that's just the brim of his hat. Well, York, I didn't want to leave. But yeah, howdy friends! How is everyone? How is your day? Where am I? Ah! There's Emily. Hello, Emily.
Hi.
Hello there, Emily. Could you perhaps show me around the office before the meeting starts? Sorry, Agent York, I've got my hands full. Could you ask Thomas? I don't think that's a good idea. Why? What's going on? He lost the key to the cabinet with the files. It asked me to take a look around the office until he finds it. Well, I hope that doesn't take too long. Thanks. Everyone here is useless. Observe. Looks hard at work, but I could probably get the same work done while reading a book. York, please. Looks like the door wasn't locked. Okay, then open it. Don't just comment on it. Open it, buddy. George, what are you doing?
George, do you work out every day?
Of course, Agent Morgan. Exercise keeps me healthy. I haven't missed a day since I started in high school.
Now that's impressive. Remind me to get more exercise, Zach.
But I can't do my full routine today without Arnold. I haven't seen Arnold around since yesterday.
Arnold.
Here.
He's a training buddy of mine. His partner Sylvester misses him too. If you see Arnold around, let me know, will ya?
Sylvester
Can't
Stallone
finish my
and
workout menu
Arnold
without him.
Okay.
Schwarzenegger.
I'll keep an eye out for him.
You have an uncle with a mustache like George? Oh no! Oh no! Not the weird grin squats. Not the grin squats. I would like to leave forever. George, what are you doing? George, please. George, please just go through the door. Also, I'm sorry that your uncle has the same mustache. It's a bad mustache. It's a bad mustache. Oh gosh. I also like this like awkward, very slow open of doors that we do. Very deliberate about our trying to check things out. What do we got in here? What do we got in here? Give. We gotta go with the goofy red suit. Yes, I would like to change. Welcome, Travis. I'm glad you got groceries. I'm sorry you almost died. What? What happened? Sir. There's nothing in here. Great. You might have almost died, but did you die? Kitchen room. I don't like how quiet it is. I found Arnold! I found Arnold!
Zach, we found Arnold. Let's get him back to George.
I'm not
Guess
gonna
it's a
shave in
cute
the
name for a
sink.
dumbbell.
This is, remember, this is a hobo, hobo York run. We're gonna grow a big, long, majestic beard. as fun as it would be to shave over all of the cooking utensils, I think we're gonna pass on that and just get a really big beard. There's a turkey sandwich in here. I don't trust this turkey sandwich. I'm sorry, Fruity. I know you want me to shave over all of the pots and pans, maybe even into the jelly, but it's not gonna happen. We gotta get York looking as rough as possible. Did I didn't change suits, did I? Why are there so many keys? It's true, never shave in Disco Elysium. Sorry, those coats caught me off guard. We love Hobocop here. Look, I know we have like a no cop policy, but if we have to have a cop around, it's gotta be a Hobocop. Is it terrifying? Why would you shave in Disco Elysium? Why have you done that? Emily, move! I'm trying to get out of the room. You get a negative to a few checks. No, the second we were given the option to shave, I refused to. You cannot shave. I'm sorry, the mutton chops stay. It's because you look even more like a maniac. I can imagine. I can't picture Harry's face without the terrible mustache and mutton chops. It's just, you can't get rid of it. Right? Right? Yes. No. Facts, though. Mutton chops are fantastic. Whenever it is that we get around to the... See, Lee, you've shown your hand. You've told me that I'm gonna have to play Mahjong and or Shogi. It's not gonna happen. Desk for the Warden. Is it even in use? Doesn't seem like it. I have been told that the Yakuza games are fantastic, though. Open. And I do want to play them. It's definitely not something that I would stream, but... Maybe your new cop in Revachol? Is that what No. I was about to say, hold on. Sam Brother hates them, so they're probably good. Sam Brother does seem to have questionable taste at best. Which probably means that the Yakuza games are pretty great. I've watched bits and pieces from Cyril's streams, which has been great. There are too many lost keys in this building. We just need to point that out right now. It's too many keys. Oh no. Okay, hold on. Normally I wouldn't be checking. Oh god. I don't like that. I don't like that. His face is so much more narrow now, and I don't like it. I'm gonna stop looking at that now. Thank you very much for the cursed image. This is why you don't shave. You can't do it. Oh god, I was trying to say, whenever it is that we do the Worst Man in Revachol run, we will shave. They're both bad. Oh no. You can choose one or the other. You can either be shaved or sober. You cannot be shaved and sober. It's not how that works. Yeah, that's awful. I hate those images. Emily, excuse you. Emily, please! Emily, please! She's trying to trap me in the corner. I need there to be some music while we walk around. This is ridiculous. Game. George. I have your dumbbell. Did you want something? Yeah, I'm here to give you your thing back. Oh, the subble's
George, I
starting to come
found
in.
Arnold.
New
Really?
York.
He was a bit hard-headed, but I got him to come back.
It's because Kim is too much of a lawful good
Oh.
character.
Arnold. Well done, Agent Morgan. Now I can work out using my normal workout menu.
Good to hear that.
Sir,
Here's a little something to show you my appreciation.
sir, what is happening? Kim is too pure. Yeah, we need the whistles. We need the
So that makes us even. I don't owe you anything, and you don't owe me anything. No changes to how we work together. Just bear that in mind.
Okay.
Zach, he needs some friends who aren't so dumb.
No. All of this is bad. What is he doing? I need him to stop. Not the clothes coming off. George, keep them on. Please. I think I found all of the keys. So we gotta try to give them to Thomas now? Is that what we're doing? I'm already very lost. This is fine. Wait. Push that button. Push that button. In order from the top. No, thank you. No. Is there nothing in here? Why am I pushing these buttons then? Game, don't let me be able to interact with everything. Okay, we'll learn about the squirrels. Did you find the key? I don't remember which one I'm supposed to give him.
You found the key.
I think so. Is this it?
You don't know your squirrels, do you? This isn't the right key holder. This is a Siberian flying squirrel. It's
There's
closer to a
music.
land-based squirrel. The Siberian flying squirrel is larger than the southern flying squirrel and has a standing tail while the southern has a hanging tail.
The
But we're
little,
looking
like,
for a southern flying
foot
squirrel
kicks.
right now.
You sure do know a lot about squirrels.
Squirrel fact theme. I love it. I'm here for it. Okay, so we need to give him the southern flying squirrel. I just want to see if it's named that. Don't think it is. Whatever. Let's just go through it. Let's get those squirrel facts.
You found the key.
I hope this is the right one.
But
You
there will
found a
be.
Siberian chipmunk this time, have you? Sorry, wrong key.
Probably.
A Siberian
There it is.
chipmunk?
We got
This
more. we
species
got
lives
more,
in northern Japan on the island of
more
Hokkaido.
facts.
They're actually quite a popular pet.
So it isn't even a squirrel.
But we're looking for a southern flying squirrel right now.
Only Squirrel Chat is worthy of music. Obviously. I mean, I should know. But I didn't. But Holly, welcome in. How are you doing? Wait, did we... Is he taking them away as I'm, like, going through this?
You found the key.
Is this the one you were looking for?
I'm handing him the key for 5 minutes. Awesome! Would highly recommend it. We have previously played through it. Not all the way. We got
Nope.
partway
This is
through.
a gray squirrel. Sorry, that's not the key. Nothing
but-
particularly special about the gray
Hold on.
squirrel, I'm afraid. You can find them in the U.S., Canada, and in England, too.
A gray squirrel. What was I thinking?
But we're looking for a southern flying
No
squirrel
one's
right
necks
now.
are in great shape in this game. It's fine. But yeah, we have played through some of it previously. But we were doing the PC version on Steam, and it crashed every single stream at least 3 times, each time with a different problem. So I ended up having to get rid of it, and putting the series on hold. So I'm now using the Origins version, for the Switch, which so far we haven't had any, like, major issues with, knock on wood. But it is wild and wacky, and I love it. Yeah, would highly recommend. If you get to playing it, like, just know it's gonna be a
You
weird
found the key.
experience.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, I would, I know that some people have managed to, like, get fixes for the Steam version. I tried everything
nope.
I could.
This is a sugar glider.
And couldn't get it to function.
Sorry, wrong key.
The
The sugar glider is a small gliding possum. It has shorter hair and a longer column-like tail. You can really
But yeah,
see
the
its
Steam
muscle
version did
definition on
not
this image, can't you?
work at all for us, which was extremely
But we're looking for a
unfortunate.
southern flying squirrel right now.
Zach, can you tell these things apart?
But yeah. If you get a working, functioning copy, it's gonna be great. If you don't have a working, functioning copy, it's gonna be a hellish experience that you will not want to continue to do. But yeah, like I said, I'm doing the version that's on the Switch, which is Deadly Premonition's Origins. It is the original version, just ported over for the Switch. So it doesn't have the director's cut stuff that the Steam version does. But from what
found
I've
the
been
key.
told, it's not that big of a deal.
That's the
a
right
lot of
one?
the director's cut stuff is weird. Yeah, no Old Man York voice, which is a shame, but that's okay. I do have...
Yes.
My bot has
southern
posted
flying
it up
squirrel.
already. I do have
Thank
the
you
link
so
for the
much.
version that I have.
I'll
if
bring
you're
the files right
interested
in, so
checking it out.
please go to the meeting room.
That
Okay,
smile, though.
I'll be waiting for you.
Well, Zach, we just got here, and
But
we've
yeah,
cracked
the
a
link
big
for
case
this
already.
version is in chat for you if you want to check that out. I do also have content warnings for the game, just because I do primarily play horror games here.
The victim's name was
and we
Anna
like to make
Graham.
sure that you know
Age
what you're
18,
doing.
she just recently graduated from high school this year.
Like, who's gonna eat
Her
the
dream was
key?
to move out to the city and become a model. But for the time being, she
Fuck,
was
do you
working
exclaim
in an
ellipses?
AMC diner here in town. She lived with her mother,
Like
Sally.
that.
Anna's father died in an accident in a lumber mill when she was a child.
It's the music is good. My favorite is the whistling.
Her
and
mother is
kazoo music, but
unemployed
it's all...
and lives on the
it's
insurance
all
money from her
top
husband's
tier.
accident.
It's just so dramatic.
After all, it's a small town with a low cost of living. Financially, they seemed to get by fine, and they led normal lives.
A normal life is exactly what a curious teenager doesn't want.
Yeah.
It's all starting to make sense, Zach.
Don't say that don't say that too loud, York. Come on, buddy. What are you doing? What are you doing? You were burning your hand with
City folk, huh? No, I take that back. All of them can't be as bad as him.
It's a good mug.
Some should have
It's a
better
good
manners.
mug.
Huh.
Look at it.
This is a good
The
biscuit.
handle is a tentacle.
I've never
It's a very
tasted
good mug.
a biscuit this delicious.
Love it.
Where in town can I get these?
Oh,
They're not here,
actually,
but Bo, I think their username is
well,
Bo the Distance
I
now.
I baked them
Bo is
myself.
fantastic and gifted it to me. Also, this
That's
music.
amazing. What are you doing in law enforcement? I'm very particular about biscuits, I'll have you know. The balance of milk and butter you've achieved here. Oh my.
Agent Morgan.
Don't cut my music
the
out.
autopsy's ready.
George!
You're welcome to accompany me to the
We were
Greenvale
gonna get that
General Hospital.
aggressive
Emily,
kazoo and it was
you
gonna be
come
very
too.
good.
Thomas, stay here and tidy up these
This
files.
is, life is beautiful.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
We're going to use the
designated
car
bop.
outside. Let's get going.
I do need to find that.
You might think this is just
on
a small town
Spotify
police
to add to
investigation,
our
but our
playlist.
inspections are thorough and solid. I'm hoping you won't slow us down.
I'm gonna slow you down. Don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. Okay, it's been added. Whistle needs to be playing all the time. Yes! Always whistle. Never stop. Only ever whistle. Do, do, do. I can't whistle very well, so it's just doot-to-doots from me, personally. I do have a kazoo, though. Like, I genuinely have a kazoo. It could probably do the kazoo bits. Consider. This game is wild, and I love it. My god.
The Greenvale General Hospital is down the road by the lake. It's too far to walk. Come on, get in the car.
If I'm riding in a car, George, I prefer to be the driver. Can you provide a car for me?
What are you talking about? You don't even know how to get there.
Which is another good reason for me to drive, George. I need to learn my way around town.
Oh,
We can do
Very well.
that.
Then I'll ride with you.
I'm not gonna do that.
I want to
but
keep an eye on you.
consider.
enough.
I will consider. Maybe we'll make it a redeem.
Just
Instead
one
of the
thing,
5-minute
Agent
voice
Morgan. Your involvement in this
line.
case is limited. That means
We'll do
you
2
don't
minutes
have
of
to learn your way
kazoo.
around town.
I also like
George,
the squeaky
we better get
horn
moving.
in
The
this
hospital
one.
closes at
Oh,
2100.
never mind. It's gone now. It was there all of 5 seconds. Let's just go. Let's do the bad driving thing. Oh no.
Agent Morgan, get us there quickly, but drive within the speed limit. Just because you have a badge doesn't mean you can drive like a maniac.
George,
Yes, it
what are you,
does.
his mother?
What is the sound?
We just
Is
need
it
to get
raining?
the autopsy results.
Agent York isn't accustomed to the town yet. Give him a little slack.
These animations, though.
Well then, Agent York, let's
I
get
do
going.
think rain
Sure.
just appeared.
Sounds good.
Which is garbage, because I was told that it was supposed to be clear all day. The weather lied. The weather forecast lied. It's, what can I say? The sky is angry. There's a card there. They're gonna get mad at me if I get out of the car, though. Let's go to the hospital, and then we can do some exploration. I love Manifested Poncho. I just appreciate whenever my clothes just magically fit into whatever situation is going on. Holly, thank you for the follow, friend. I super duper appreciate it. I'm glad you appreciate some of the nonsense that's happening. This is a very, very tame stream for what we usually do. But yeah, welcome to the gang. Hey, road. It's not the road I was looking for, but that's okay. Also, my face is covering up some of the things that are around, but that's fine. Oh my god, car. Please, please, car. Car, please, car. Not the 2 plugs, please. Not an Ooblets only streamer. Ooblets sometimes streamer. Our car's freaking out. Oh no. Not a fishing spot! No fishing. Why is this car flipping around as much as it is? This is horrible. And yet, somehow still easier than the PC version? Alright, let's do couldn't. I love Ooblets, but it's definitely a game that I can only play in small doses. No ice physics. Also, I keep using the boost to try and break, which is the exact opposite of what I want it to do. I want to stop, not go. There's a
Pretty
good
big
poncho.
hospital. Guess they wanted to be ready for town-wide food poisoning.
No, no. It's another leftover from the town's prosperous slumber days. Hard to imagine now, though, isn't it?
My mother always talked
This
about
rain
how
is
energetic
so
this
loud.
town used to be. Almost like a gold rush, she used to say.
George, I can barely hear you.
But the hotter the fever, the faster it cools.
I also like how Emily does not give a shit that it's raining.
Pains me to watch my hometown lose so many citizens.
Makes things so
Beyond your
bad.
understanding, I'm
All
sure.
the time.
Yes, I'm sorry to say that it is.
That's why this
Using
case is
great
our problem.
dialogue.
There really isn't any need for you to get too involved.
I love it. I love it so much. It's so weird. It's so bad, but like the good kind of bad. I fucking love this game. I'm so happy we're playing it again.
Hello, Sheriff.
Hi, Freckly Fiona. That wave,
Hi
though.
there, Fiona. We're here to see Usha. Do you know where he is?
I love
I think Dr.
Usha.
Johnson
Oh my
is in the
god.
computer room.
I forgot Usha
Computer
was
room.
a thing.
In a hospital?
Oh.
Nice to meet you, Mr. FBI agent. The computer room is where our employees share a computer.
Very nice to meet you, too. I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. How did you know I was FBI?
Easy.
That lady in
None
the
of the police
background.
in this town wear cologne.
Besides, that scar on your face is the biggest rumor in town.
What?
Rumors get exaggerated as they spread, even in the countryside.
What's that you're reading, if I may ask?
Alright. Not homo
You haven't heard of this
cologne.
yet? It's a recent bestseller mystery. It's set in the U.S., a small
Oh
traditional
my
North
gosh.
American town close to the Canadian border. A peaceful, traditional place. However, that peaceful town is shattered by a terrible crime. The murder of a local girl. And
You've
that
just-
incident
you've just
causes
described
grief
Twin
and sadness
Peaks.
to everyone in town. But everyone feels the seditious, heinous evil still lurking, alive. Yes? Much
That's
like
the that's the
situation
plot
right
to Twin
now in
Peaks, my
Greenville.
dude.
Fiona, don't say that.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. With Anna dead and all.
Don't worry. Books are written to
Aw.
entertain, and it's good you're enjoying it. What we're faced with here is a terrible crime committed in a real world.
Never seen, never heard
Much
of
different
Twin
from that of a
Peaks.
novel.
Knows nothing about
So
it.
there's no need to apologize.
Thank you.
You're right. I
Agent Morgan.
forgot. Well, that the computer room is not a room full of computers, but the only room with a computer. I mean, things tend to crop up that are very similar. It's not an implication. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying the plot of that book sounds oddly reminiscent of David Lynch's TV series, Twin Peaks. Fucking love Twin Peaks. Where am I? Where are we going? Let's go. Usha? Usha? Is it in here?
We couldn't find him.
Fiona needs to check her information.
We
No, I don't
need
think so.
we need these bad chess
Does the doctor
posters.
like playing games by any chance?
What do you mean?
The puzzle?
There's a message on
This
the
is the
computer,
one that I like.
and a card key
overcomplicated,
already set in
didn't I?
place. The king passes the rook and meets the bishop. The knight takes a pawn along for the queen.
What does that all mean?
It's a simple puzzle.
Is it?
Zach, let's take him up on his challenge. You can do this, right?
I am so used to puzzles being so king passes rook and meets bishop. Knight takes pawn to queen. No, oh wait, no. King. Rook. Bishop. Knight. Pawn. Queen. I am so used to overly complicated, convoluted puzzles. That face!
The doctor awaits below.
That to have
with
something
the
that literally
deceased.
just tells me,
Another code?
that just
But
tells
there's
me the
nowhere
answer
to
was
insert a password.
unheard
More
of.
games. I'm going to get Fiona to call Usha up here right now.
George, it's not that
No need,
bad.
George. The message appeared with the card key. It's telling us where to use it.
This is
True.
not
York
the time
was
to be joking
delighted
around, Agent Morgan.
About this puzzle, to which it's
Dr. Usha is below with the deceased, with Anna. Below being underground.
Is that
Simple.
that like
Simple.
hacking game that you were doing the other day, Legis? The one that was
Then
making
it's
you go,
time to meet the
ah!
mischievous architect of this little game.
Nah.
Got card key for underground something. I didn't catch the last word, but that's okay. Oof. Best of luck to you if you decide to approach it again. I liked reading chat and and you trying to brute force your way through it, even though it doesn't seem like it's that kind of a game. No easy ones, only difficult. If only all puzzles were that easy. Look, it's not a great puzzle, but at least it is solvable. Probably. Assuming you can just enter in things. I struggled with it last time. Where? Stairs? Stairs. Hey, stairs. Stairs. Yeah. We love poorly translated puzzles. Those are my favorite. I'm looking at you, Silent Hill and Spirit Hunter. There was that one with, like, eyes? I was talking about eyeballs. But they didn't... they didn't make that clear to us. Because the kanji for the one word was like eye, but they didn't translate that or make it clear in the English version. That was great. Loved that for us. It's fine. It's all fine. This is the wrong morgue. And I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. Shelves for storing bodies! I wouldn't open these unless we really need to. Bad Eyes puzzle. Which was unfortunate because it was a really neat, just general, section of the game. Until the bad translations came. I is just son with an extra line. See, I don't know. I can't speak or read Japanese. So to assume that I know what the kanji looks like while looking at an English word seems a little unfair. That's all good. I know that there are, like, just given how many weird
Usha,
Japanese games
sorry
I've
to keep
played,
you
I
waiting.
do know that there's like, a
You
lot of
made it.
similarities between
Let's
words,
get
where
started,
it really
shall
is
we?
just like a single line or just the way that like a line is placed that can drastically
This is
change
Agent
the
Morgan
meanings.
from the FBI.
Or that some kanji
Nice to meet you.
mean
I'm
multiple
Usha Johnson,
different
the
things,
doctor in this hospital.
but it just
FBI
depends on like
Special
the
Agent
context
Francis York
around
Morgan.
it.
Please call me York. Everyone calls me that.
But yeah, wild.
Very well, Agent York.
Spirit Hunter's a great game.
Are you
Would
a
highly
forensic
recommend,
practitioner?
But just know that some
Let's
of the
just
puzzles
say
are
I've dealt with
ridiculous.
corpses before.
Usha, please.
That battle of wits, by the way. Did you create that yourself?
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to
forgot
see
to
if
put
our
leg bolts in
FBI
this
agent
hospital.
could
Look,
handle the task.
I will say,
I see.
in a morgue,
Well, it was pretty fun.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
so many of those medical examiners or anyone who works in a morgue
We don't have much time.
does not want to deal with
We
the
need
light.
those autopsy
It's
results.
not that the light bulbs don't work. We just don't turn them on.
Next time, try challenging us without obstructing an investigation. You've angered the monarch.
York, please. But yeah, the number of times I went into...
From the onset of rigor mortis,
So as a
the
heads up, I
stiffening
have
of the
worked in
muscles,
morgues before.
the time of death
number
is
of times I went
estimated to be between
to work,
20 and 2200 hours.
and I just
That's
left the
still
lights
quite
off
early
until I
for such a
absolutely
crime to
needed
take
to turn them
place.
on was numerous.
Note
There's
that
no
there
point.
are two
Don't turn
exterior
them on if you
wounds,
don't gotta.
pressure marks around the neck, and a long cut running from chest to abdomen. Blood marks on her right hand tell us she was gripping something round in her right hand.
Oh. Everyone's just like, right
Her
hand.
skull is also fractured, but that is unrelated to the cause of death. It probably happened to her after she was killed.
Also, George's badge is
Now,
disappearing
I first
into his
thought
jacket.
death by suffocation, due to the marks on her neck. But after further investigation, I now have a different conclusion.
Usha, just give me the info. Don't.
The direct cause of death was loss of blood from the wound.
Which means...
She was cut up while she was still alive.
I like how York said that without moving his mouth.
Yes, a sharp knife was used. It was inserted beneath the sternum and then
Sex
quickly
focusing
sliced
something?
downwards.
Is it
The excessive loss of
Shrek's
blood from
yogurt?
her internal organs is what actually killed her. Her nails are clean, and with no skin cells from the attacker. She also doesn't appear to have been bound nor badly beaten. She was apparently killed without resistance. The most tragic thing, however, was that she was unable to speak her story to anyone who
Usha,
could hear
you're
her cries.
being weird and poetic about this, and you don't gotta. Come on, buddy. This reminds me of that.
The perpetrator cut out Hannah's tongue.
Right?
Well, I believe she was drugged first to
This
phase her
reminds me of that
consciousness,
bad poet
and
from
then
Vampire.
the killer
I
killed
write
her.
about what the eyes can't see.
Now, the killer
okay,
most
buddy.
likely has a deep, traumatized past concerning women. He probably cannot converse with them normally.
Usha, you're here to tell
Cutting
me how
out
she
the tongue
died, not give
Suggests
me,
a very
not
lonely
give me a
individual.
profile on the
Either
killer.
that, or
Thank
a
you.
truly hardcore sadist. He must get off on watching women suffer, especially when they can't answer back.
Being weird
He
about it.
watched as the blood pumped from her body, as she gradually grew cold.
It's like you are.
A case in Seattle in 1985 was
Usha.
much like...
Usha, please, limit your report to your findings as a doctor. Criminal profiling is my job.
Thank you, York.
You're wrong, also. Anna died fully, deeply, painfully aware of what was happening to her.
But,
So many assumptions. This tells me more about that.
Tell me, what time did it stop
Definitely,
raining on the night Anna
this
was killed?
speaks more to Usha than anything. Usha, please.
Just before I went to bed,
Please.
right after the movie on TV ended, so
We've just
around
met.
1 a.m.
What movie was it?
An American Werewolf in London.
Classic.
Directed by John Landis, 1981. So the rain stopped, accompanied by the ending song, Blue Moon.
Oof.
George, would you mind if I examined Anna myself?
What more do you hope to find?
George, what is this face? What is this face you're making?
I'm sure I mentioned that I have a personal interest in cases like these.
What are you doing? Got some screen grabs to compare Harry to York and stream spoiler discussion. Oh no. The second one though. Oh. those are extremely similarly just, oh gosh. Okay, his age isn't immediately apparent, though he can't be that old. Looks like a trustworthy doctor. I don't know about that anymore. We shouldn't stare at her for too long. You have nothing else to say? Still no hint of a smile. There's no reason we should focus our efforts on George. Oh, hi, Anna. Traces of evaporated liquid around the eyes. She must have cried before she was murdered. Well, thanks for stopping in, Holly, and hanging out for a little bit. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, good rest of your time zone. Like I said earlier, thank you for the follow. We hope to catch you sometime soon. Beautiful blonde hair, stunning even in death. What? Judging from the impressions, she was holding something in her right hand, but it was removed around 6 hours after death. The object was circular with a relief shaped like a peace mark. Anna's body is lying on the table. She's neatly wearing fake fingernails. Okay. Is that all you got, York? The tongue has been removed. Look at the edge of the stump. Not the stump.
From her lack of resistance, I'd say that Anna's injuries happened very quickly. Unable to speak, she was then left to cry herself to death.
Zach, it's all starting to come together.
The perpetrator stayed with her for at least 2 hours until it stopped raining. At the estimated time of her death, it was still raining.
Is what killed her?
But you can still see tear marks on her cheeks. That means she was killed under a roof somewhere.
I mean,
she was then carried
she bled
into
out,
the
which I
woods
guess would be
after it stopped
kind of crying.
There's one other thing. Her tongue was removed with a very blunt knife. In fact, it's more likely it was simply chopped off.
Yikes.
Asha, are you a passionate man?
Well, not particularly, but I am man enough should the moment call
Bleeding is
for it.
nature's
George,
cry?
how about you?
I'm very passionate. Yes.
Vampires can't cry, they can only leave.
Especially when it comes to women. But I don't see what that has to do with anything.
George.
George, the perpetrator, is just like you. He's passionate about women. He's a passionate kisser. This was a kiss of death.
The perpetrator
Chomp,
bit off Anna's tongue.
I feel like as a medical examiner, he
We'll
would
never
have been
get a
able
dental
to
print from a
know
wound
that.
like this. But this is still a big lead.
Vampire's growing cottage cheese. What do I think about George kissing? Same. Same though. This is fine. Usha, how did you miss this?
Jackpot, Zach. The shame
Usha's done a
our
terrible
old-time
job.
All-American sightseeing tour just came to an end.
This case is now under the jurisdiction of the FBI. I'm assuming command. I'll need you to assist me in the investigation.
What in the hell do you mean, Agent Morgan?
Right?
I know I
That's what
said
I'm
I was
saying,
passionate,
Agent.
but you can't think I did this.
The fact that Usha didn't
That's not
notice
why I'm
it
assuming
is
command, George. You're a
horrible.
suspect just as much as every other passionate man on Earth. Let me show you
Usha's
something.
very bad at his job. Extremely bad at his job. I vaguely remember us talking about York having individual pockets
There you
inside
go.
his jacket for
Amazing,
each
huh?
one of those.
I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but most of the details are top
The
secret.
killer just has a singular large front tooth and it looked like a knife. Well, we'll
George,
find the perpetrator
Emily,
very
we should be
easily
going.
then.
No need to stay here any longer.
Passionate
Okay, I have to sign the release.
please.
Just give me a moment.
Oh,
Very well.
no.
I'll go on ahead. I can't take it any longer down here.
Oh, God.
Bishop takes queen. His rook takes your queen. And your knight takes rook. And checkmate.
Huh?
York kind of knows what he's doing sometimes. Only sometimes.
My first victory in the Grandmaster ranking.
Usha, you're bad at this. You're bad at all of this. You've done it very bad. Get me out of here. Don't smoke in the hospital, you goober.
Hmm?
Apparently. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. It's a good face. 10 out of 10 face. Should we buy a ton of crackers? Let's buy a lot of crackers. These $35 crackers. I don't want to anymore. I've decided I'm bored with that. Okay. Can we... Are we... So I am realizing that I've sort of just, like, rolled with the whole... Hi, Anna. Whole zombies being around. Backbending zombies just kind of exist here. Without ever really questioning it. And I do genuinely hope that we get, like, an explanation at some point. Just bad breathing noises. It's not $35 worth of crackers. It is a single thing, like a single cracker worth $35. Those are some fancy-ass crackers. Okay, we got our gun out now, which is great, because I think I just saw something in the hallway. Yeah, they're standing right there. This is great. I don't remember the shoot button. Oh, it's fine. It's right there. Please. It's so wiggly. Whoa. Cracker's not a... Cracker is not a slur. And we all know this. I'm gonna keep saying it because I am talking about the food. Get over it. It's ridiculous. Don't even get me started on that. Just Twitch in general. Twitch staff don't know shit. As we've all seen many a time. Hi.
Yes.
Absolutely. Is that how that works? Oh my god, zombie, get out of my way.
Amazing. Bullseye.
Amazing. Bullseye. Good job. I keep hitting all of the wrong buttons for everything. Is there really any point to breaking those? I know sometimes you get like that Agent Honor stuff out of the boxes, but I don't think I care enough. Please, please, please. Please, 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 please. Please. Ma'am, you're very close, and I can't shoot you.
Amazing.
Because we are too wiggly. That's fine. Don't need the giant rotating medals, though. They're nice. We appreciate them, but we don't need them. I hear somebody crying. Hello? Oh.
Great. Bullseye.
Stop being so wiggly. You are too wiggly.
Great. Nice shot. Yes.
Too much wiggles. Also, they keep giving me... Oh, I guess those are different bullets than what I use for the handgun. Not a light gun. We gotta save that for Alan Wake. Please, please. I need you to shoot the undead nurse. No. Look, I'm telling you, if the final boss, or if defeating the Raincoat Killer includes a fishing tournament, Raincoat Killer is gonna win. I'm not gonna do it. I would gladly let Arby's Witch win the fishing tournament. If that means that I won't fish. Because I'm not gonna fish. It's not gonna happen. It will never happen. I won't ever do it. Oh no. But did they? Actually? It's covered with white cloth. What should we do, Zach? You can get that death laser. You can have it. That's fine. This town's weird anyway, and I don't like it. Let the Raincoat Killer go wacky. I guess there were, okay, I guess there was some orb touching in Klonoa. That is correct. Spheres are very closely related to orbs.
Yes.
They're pretty much orbs. Oh, hi. Hey, ma'am? I need you not as close to me, okay? 3D circles are arguably very close to orbs. So is it just orbs or orb adjacent things that we don't like here? I need the specification. And also, how do you determine the difference between an orb and a sphere or a 3D circle? What's the math behind this? I need you to lay it out to me. Please explain. Do the thing. Great. You gotta touch him. Alright, you know what? Fair enough. Good answer. Oh goodness. Alright. Also, I'm not entirely sure that this is... It says that this is the red outfit, but it doesn't look very red out here. Also, let's go ahead and save. It's been a minute. We might as well. You wanna save? Yeah. Also, why does it sound like it's raining in here? Oh, because it's raining outside. Alright, I understand. Kind of. Minimally. I minimally understand. Let's go. Door's locked. Fantastic. Can we go through here? Oh we can go through doors quickly. You just have to be running at them. I see.
Bullseye. Great.
Isn't there a dude with a shotgun over here? I am concerned.
Amazing.
I vaguely remember coming into the lobby of the hospital and having one of these zombies just like absolutely blow me away. Which is less than ideal.
Great.
Observe. Smashed wheelchair. I think I see bullet holes in here. Is it fine? Yako Enif. Yako. The shotgun zombies are coming. Okay. I'm glad I do remember, like, some of this.
Here! Over here!
Anna, go away. Like, my memory's not great, but it's not that bad. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hello.
Great.
It's fine.
Nice shot.
I keep turning this stupid flashlight on and off.
Great.
And also, I keep missing because this gun likes to just zoom all over the place. Sty Enif Yako Enif. One day, I
Yes.
hope to be able to read gibberish as easily and readily as both Fruity and Sam, as in Resident Buddy, Killjoy Sam Killjoy, what? Brain, do. The way that y'all just read typos and and bad spelled things just so easily is such a weird flex, and I love it. Not my immortal. No more my immortal. No more. Turn it on. I like how he's just like grabby handsing the keyboard. What's that? Hopefully that MRI machine was not turned on, because if it was, that card would be wiped. Looks like the door wasn't locked. Great! Go through it! York? Listen, buddy. I feel like we're getting through this, like, much quicker than we did previously. And I know some of that's because I kind of vaguely know where I'm going, but I feel like a lot of it is due to the fact that the game is not crashing every 10 minutes. And that's a wonderful feeling, honestly. Having the game that I have purchased, that I've spent money on, actually work, wonderful. 10 out of 10. Alright. What do we got? What do we got? Shotgun buds. Shotgun buds. Yeah. again, between the familiarity and just the crashes not happening, it's very nice to be able to kind of just like breeze through the sections that we're familiar with. I am very excited to like actually be able to explore everything though. This is not great. All right, York, let me go. Huh? Please. Aim. York, aim.
Bullseye. Nice shot.
Okay, this is fine. This is fine.
Bullseye.
Why was this so hard the last time we played? They didn't even get a chance to attack me. Thomas's biscuit? I forgot that I need to sleep in this game, don't I?
Agent Morgan, if you're so desperate, then why not smoke two at once?
I'm out of soda. That's upsetting. Mr. Stewart! I'm gonna grab another soda while this is playing.
Who's that old man?
That's Harry. Harry Stewart. One of the bigger problems around here. His father started up the lumber trade and founded this town.
You ableist piece of shit!
He's a weird one, as I'm sure you can see. Always dressed like that, never speaking to the townsfolk. And just FYI, he owns almost the entire town. Not that that makes any difference.
Sometimes you just gotta put a hole in the middle of your
biscuit. He won't be getting away with
biscuit.
any funny business.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the eating thing. Also, ready? Ready? Grip it and rip it. Hi, Mr. Stewart. Hi, Devo.
Mr. Francis York Morgan. Haste won't lead you to what you seek. Keep your eyes focused on your footing as we speak. So says Mr. Stewart.
Also, while this is happening, can we just look at these little goobers over
Nice to
there?
meet you too. How did you know my name?
It's a Devo, and it's a Lamia.
Mr. Francis York Morgan. Information desires you. Just
not
as
doing
you
a weekend
desire
at
information
Bernie's.
too. So says Mr. Stewart.
Beautiful.
Harry, stop trying to get in our
Very
way.
likely.
Keep this up, and even you'll have to answer to the law.
Oh gosh. Alright, I think that's where that is supposed to be.
Mr. Francis York Morgan.
Boop.
With each rain, our town goes mad. To our
Oh, that's
disdain,
so
unpreventable. So sad. So says Mr. Stewart.
Thanks for the warning.
Then we shall depart, Mr. Francis York Morgan.
I love them.
That's how he always is. Always spouting that nonsense. Don't give it any thought. It's all gibberish.
Is it though?
Emily here.
I love how she was ready for that phone
Oh.
call.
Okay, thank you, Thomas.
Devo.
Agent York, we've
Ow.
contacted the first witnesses to the crime scene. You can interview them where they found the dead body.
Excellent. I was just about to ask if you could take me there.
And by you take me there, you mean I drive everyone there? Devo. Wow. Sorry, he's being very cute right now. You do. You're gonna be Mr. Stewart's new new buddy. Make it happen. Let's go. I'm sure you'd have better lines than his fool assistant now. Beautiful.
The body was found in the Greenvale Forest Park. That's west from here, and too far to walk.
A forest park?
It's the pride of the town. It has a beautiful trail leading to a viewing site over Velvet Falls.
That does sound fantastic. Show me the sights.
That may have to wait. We promised to be there by 1800 to interview the first witnesses to the crime scene.
I don't want to drive around with these fools anymore. I would like to just go do an explore.
Agent Morgan, if I could just give you a friendly warning.
Are you really upset about me taking over the case?
Yes.
I have the authority approved by the FBI to assume command. I understand you don't like it, but you will follow my orders.
I'm not disputing FBI authority, but this is our town. You won't get far alone, and you gain nothing by antagonizing me.
It's part of my personality. I just do things my way.
I know I
can take you off the
but
case
then they
if
get
you
all
wish.
huffy about
Stop
it.
it,
I
you
might
two.
as well
We need to solve this case, not
get
bicker
us
among ourselves.
through some of like this earlier stuff. That smile. Cause like we can put off the town hall meeting, right? I don't know, a part of me like just wants to like wander around and explore, but also get us back to where we were. And we're doing real well making progress at the moment.
Anna's body was discovered by the woodsman
Oh.
Jim Green, along with his two grandchildren, Isaac and
It's
Isaiah.
true.
What was he doing in the forest?
Just their daily routine. They found Anna's body during a morning walk.
So you've talked to him already?
Not officially. Not yet.
Not yet. Are you out of your mind? You haven't interviewed them yet?
Agent York, that tone is hardly appropriate. We were given orders to wait for you to arrive.
Orders by who?
A man called Abrams from the FBI.
Robert, is it? Good old Bob Abrams. I did tell him to stay out of it. It's always tough to have a meddling boss, huh, Zach?
I thought you knew, Agent Morgan. Don't worry about it. We may not have taken official statements, but we got all the information we need. I can fill
I also
you
like
in
how
right
they
now
were
if
like,
you'd like.
just
Thanks,
because
George,
you're
but
part of
that
the
won't be
FBI
necessary.
doesn't mean
I want
you
to hear
drive
the
around like a
details from the
maniac,
witnesses
and yet
themselves,
here I am.
firsthand.
I just can't believe that the children
Doing
had
whatever
to
the
witness the crime
fuck
scene.
I want.
They may be
That car just
traumatized.
showed up out of nowhere.
We'd better do this carefully.
Don't tell me you get nervous talking to children, Emily.
Not at all. That's not what I meant.
Then what did you
It's
mean?
fine.
Ah, just forget it.
But yeah, I think we'll we have a map, don't we? This is the wrong button. Is it this one? Right, I forgot how useless the map is. Great. I don't like that the horn also flips the camera around. Oh my god, I just want to look. But yeah, I think we'll get to the point where I'm gonna push us through the story till we get to the like meeting, the big meeting, and then we'll probably wander around and do some exploration that way. Because while we technically did the town hall meeting, it was in slow motion, and it was horrible. I think this is the wrong way. I think I've gone the wrong way. I think I'm going the wrong way. The big eating, yeah. There is a thing here, and I want it. My car is destroyed. Yeah, we also, like, couldn't talk to anyone. That was extremely unfortunate. Our car is broken. It broke our car. We gotta get out. Investigation failure? That was extremely rude, game. What happened? Oh, I'll understand. It's fine. Like, my car was at 0%. All I did was stop. And then it blew up. This is fine. It's fine. You know what this means, though? Don't think we have Emily and George with us anymore. Which is wonderful. Because maybe we do just do some exploration now. No, I'm gonna stick with our plan of trying to get through story as quickly as possible. Do. I said what I said. Please.
Speaking of 80s movies, one jewel in the rough springs to mind.
Movie trivia?
Deadly Spawn. Do you remember that one, Zach?
Back in '83, directed by Douglas McCown. Right, it was filmed pretty cheap, but still it was pretty good. The monster design with the mouth crammed full of teeth, I loved it. So many delicious B-movie cliches.
Delicious.
Did you know that they made a sequel? But I never got to see the sequel. The rental store didn't have it for some reason. They said the staff for the sequel was totally different from the original. Wonder how the sequel turned out. You know, the monster in that one responded to sound.
Wait, Zach. Sounds a lot like the movie
Not
Tremors.
I think that one was back in '89, directed by Ron Underwood. Now that was a great role for Kevin Bacon. Masterpiece.
Zach, that one had sequels like crazy. I remember there was a fourth one.
Thank you for the clip.
I've only seen the first one, though.
This does just make me want to watch a lot of, like, really bad B horror movies. Which, I mean, is technically a thing we can do on Sundays. There's lots of good, bad B movies on Shudder. Maybe we'll have to figure that out at some point. Also, sleep and food, we're fine. We don't need to do anything for a while. Which is great. 'Cause I don't want to go to bed. I also love good, bad B movies. Think about Evil Speak a lot. I mean, that was like the most recent bad, good B movie that we watched. I'll peruse through Shudder, see what options we got, see if there's any that like seem particularly interesting. And maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow for Horror Fest. Consider. Can I go up this way? Please, grass! I need you to not have me Tokyo drift my way through town. Thank you. Evil Speak was so good. Extra for long distance. Great, thanks. I have no idea where, like, how to get there. I wish that we had a better map than this nonsense. But, we don't. Is this gonna curve off to the right? It is not. Good. That's where we want to go. We are slowly getting closer. My car is at 28% for fuel. This is terrible. I do appreciate that there is at least music in the background while we just endlessly drive, though. That's great. Vaguely remember this. I think. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, though. Who knows? I'm gonna run out of fuel before I get there! Right? We're never gonna get there! Please, car, I need you to stop wild and I need you to chill. The car is at 93% as far as, like, 92% as far as, like, the damage is concerned. 90%. So we've been doing fine on that. It's just the fuel. Ugh. Okay, but if we run out of fuel, it's not an investigation failure, is it? Please. I have no idea where I am. I need to consider pulling up a map like we did last time of like the entire town so I can see generally how to get places. Because this is ridiculous. I think we're headed in the right direction. It is getting closer. Also, we're at 9% fuel. That's why it's beeping at us. Okay, well, now we're not getting closer. I mean, it's like, it's necessary to have that map up. This is, we're going up. I need to not go up. Where am I going? Let's get out. Let's get out. This car lives here now.
Zach, is there something here that you want to check out?
Well, just do as you please. We can head to the forest later.
Bud, I'm trying to head to the forest as we speak. That is the plan. I just don't know how to get there, York. Listen. York, listen. Is this Stewart's mansion? Have I somehow made my way to Mr. Stewart's mansion? Where am I? Hello? Knock, knock, hello? This is a fancy mansion. Is it just a mundane piano? What do you think, Zach? Our car broke down just down the road. Do you have a phone we can use? Hello? Does anyone live here? Probably shouldn't try to get in here. Why? Judging from the nameplate, this is Michael's room. Should we call him? Not that we need to, though. Who's Michael? What is happening? Why am I here? And it's so quiet. Oh, no. Hello? So we're gonna stop ourselves from going into specific rooms, but, like, generally breaking into the house and going into somebody's bedroom, that's all fine. We're cool with that. What the fuck? Hello? Can we really only go into, like, 4 rooms? Yeah, okay. We gotta go. It's time to go. I don't know how to get out of here. Like, it's a very far walk back. And our car has zero fuel. Do you have fuel? You have no fuel. You are useless to me. How did you get here, car? Does look like there's a path over here, though. Can we call a cab? How do I get there? Michael! Harry! I think we have a flare. Does that take us back? Is that how flares work? When it's launched, a patrol car will come soon. This is a wild-ass mechanic. Those sounds, though. Oh my god. Oh, good. Great. Let's get out of here. We gotta go. Oh my god. It was pristine. No longer. Car, what are you doing?
Tremors. I think Fred Ward was in it.
This is too much.
You say Fred Ward, and I say Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. That one was back in '85, I think.
I think you can purchase flares
Directed
somewhere.
by Guy Hamilton. Guess Hamilton was aiming to start a series like 007.
I think we
but it
have
had no
2
sequels.
flares. Well, had 2 flares.
Real shame. Do you remember the martial
I'm not
arts they
holding
used in
the
that film?
accelerator at all. I
Called
need you to know that. I am
Sinanju?
now, but
The ultimate in martial arts, using no weapons at all. Remo's
I'm
master
not.
Chun ran across water,
Please,
remember? And he
car.
loved soap operas. Man, that was a good character. He was played by Joel
This is
Grey,
worse than the
best supporting actor in
Mako.
Cabaret. Of course, in Remo, he had so much makeup on you couldn't tell.
Oh my god. Why is this stretch of road so long? Why are you like this, car? Oh. I'm just trying to Why are those deer flying? Oh, we need to leave. Stretch of road is so bad.
A wizard is never late,
Ridiculous.
Frodo Baggins.
Hi, Sarah.
Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Everything is wild here. I don't know how to go where I'm trying to go. Is it? It can't be it going, Sarah? How are you doing? What are you doing? Thank you, Sarah, for the gift subs to Fizz, Angry, and Cyril, and Lou, and Okami. Oh my god. It's gonna do it individually, isn't it? It's gonna do it for each one of them, isn't it? It is. Alright, alright. We are having car troubles. Thank you, Sarah, for the gift subs. I appreciate it. I hear that's what people do. Oh no. It is appreciated though. Thank you, friends. It's just gonna keep doing it. It's just gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna break this car before we get to this stupid forest. It's a good way to break up how mundane everything is with this drive. Look, we love those month-long gifts. It's a good option. No, but seriously, thank you. We appreciate it. But yeah, how's it going? How are you doing? Is it this way? This is not... That's a deer that I almost destroyed. I have no idea where I'm going. Please. Is this a path? Our car is gonna break. Our car is gonna break. Oh no. Yes, this is... You are correct, Allie. That's fine, take your time, go see other people, we'll be around. Thanks for stopping in and saying hey. This is, yeah, but no, you're right, Allie. This is more or less how the game was playing when it was working last time. And I vaguely remember this stretch of land. This car is gonna die, though. I think this is the hill that we got stuck on? No, it was a longer hill. Because I couldn't get enough momentum to go up it, so we got kind of stuck, and then we realized that there was a boost button. And that was weird. Alright, car is at 29 health. Not ideal. But has it blown up? I don't think so. And then we flew and it was horrifying and I was scared. Oh my god, we've made it. Holy shit. Oh my god, Emily just got here too. Look, I'm not late. Because Emily's also here. Alright. Oh, I forgot there was the... It's not a crouch button, it's a hold your breath button. Okay. It's just that easy. Let's head over to the forest park then. You're in charge now. Vid games. I am the one. I love Mauve. Anna's body was found by 2 children, 6-year-old twins. Please be gentle with them, Agent York. I'm gonna punt the little shits. Let's go. Where do we go? Here? Here. Right, gotta crouch while you're holding your breath. That's how this works, right? Those are the moves. Oh my god.
It's locked. Right. I was supposed to be here before 1800.
Zach, no luck today then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just a second. Yeah, the children from the beginning. Oh, it's not time. That's why I can't do it yet. I still have 9 minutes. Great. Can we go in? Please, game. I just keep trying to open the door, it'll open faster, right?
It's locked. Right. I was supposed to be here before 1800.
Zach, no luck today then.
Before 1800? Between 10 and 1800. Absolutely. Okay, I'll keep wiggling that handle then. Let's go. I should probably heal up. Our health is not doing too hot at the moment. Let's go ahead and use this. Time for you to get a watch. No, it's 9:53, according to the in-game clock over there on the left. We have 7 minutes. And it's almost nearly like 7 actual minutes. 6 minutes. It's too long. I do remember the smoking thing. If you put a band-aid on the car, I wouldn't put it past this game, honestly. I do remember the smoking mechanic. I don't necessarily want to do that at the moment, though. Just because we're so close, and I will just, breeze through it. Look at all these cool textures. Look at how cool we are. Look at how cool it is. You heal the car by getting it washed. Perfect. Acquired coffee. Milk. I know you're not joking. Honestly, the thing is, I know. I understand. It's not any more real than a band-aid. I should be able to just slap a band-aid onto that car. Let's go. Let's get some lollipops. Let's purchase some lollipops. A $24.45 lollipop. $24 for this stupid lollipop. I have too much stuff in my inventory. It's a shame, honestly. We got 4 minutes. So how's everyone doing? How's it going? Just gonna run around in circles for a little bit. This is fine. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna do a cigarette. We're gonna have a cigarette. It's a cigarette time. Smoke break. Great. It's 10:31. You breeze through time so quickly during smoke break. Okay. It's fine. We're here. We're doing it.
What are you playing at? You tell us to come here, and you keep us waiting. Is this the way the FBI treats their own people?
Hello, George. I just had some things I had to do.
You really are pushing it, you know that?
George,
I'm
get
sorry
over
if I
it.
upset you, but it was important stuff. To me, at least.
That isn't the issue here. We are in the middle of a homicide investigation.
He's not listening, George. I think we both know by now how little he thinks of other people's feelings.
Emily, I
I'll be
can't
more
hear
careful
you
now.
over the la-la-las that I am hearing. Where's my chapstick? There it is.
I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please call me York. It's what everyone calls me.
And you are Jim Green?
That I am, son. I keep these woods.
Forest Park Warden.
Well, you're doing a fine job.
Well, I used to be
Not
a
just a
tree
ranger,
surgeon.
but a warden.
And these two discovered the body.
Yes, my grandchildren, Isaac and Isaiah.
These children are evil. 100%. Right? That's what I'm saying, Fozzie. It's
Zach,
punting time.
You see that? Twins.
Twins.
Just like in my dream. We gotta keep an eye on these two.
They're
I'm
just at
sorry.
that like
Could we
that
talk
good
away
size
from the boys?
for punting.
I want to help your investigation, but I don't want them to hear this.
Very well. Emily, please.
I'll just take them over there then.
Good morning,
Thank you.
Lamia. Let's
Hold
do
on.
it. It's punting
Don't do
time.
anything without asking me. These children were the first to witness the crime scene. I want to talk to them.
Come on, they're just kids. They have no idea what really happened to Anna.
That doesn't matter.
protective stance that man took.
You agree
He
with
knows
me,
what
right,
I'm
Zach?
planning.
How heartless. Do you ever think of other people's feelings, ever?
Emily's right. That's stone cold, even for the sake of investigation.
Children
Gotta-
see things in pure, simple terms.
Gotta ask these kids about the
They
murder
may have
they
seen
saw.
something we
Well,
adults would never spot, and they are here
the
at our
body
request
they found,
as well.
I guess.
We
More
could at least chat
accurately.
with them and see if they want to make a statement.
Are you serious?
I never joke about matters like this.
Never that
Oh
smile,
my
though.
Don't worry. They aren't as fragile as you think. Look at them, standing so upright there.
It's true. I
Now
look
then,
at
Isaac,
the adults.
Isaiah, tell me, what did you find here?
Anna, she was so pretty. She had a red dress on. Her hair was shining. Bright gold hair. There were lots of animals around her. Squirrels, weasels, and a snake. A real snake. We didn't know
Why are
until
they
then,
yelling
but
at
we
me?
know now. Anna was the fairy of the forest. She was a goddess. She smiled when she saw us. She looked so happy.
That's right, Isaac.
Top
Isaiah,
quality voice acting.
She was a fairy. A goddess. I'm sure she is playing with those animals even now.
Of course she is. Yeah, of course.
We gotta ask Thomas what kind
Most
of
useful
squirrels. I'm
information,
sure he
boys.
can identify them.
Well, Emily, you can take them now.
Perfect.
Okay, Zach. This is where Anna's body was.
That transition, though.
And that means our unsub, our unknown subject, was here too.
Please don't
So,
call it that. Don't call
What
it an
happened
unsub.
here?
just refer to him as the suspect. The perpetrator or something. I don't know. Sound like a goober. As agreed upon before, we'll do the profiling initially, and then we will only do it once we find all of the evidence. And so does the term they use in Criminal Minds.
Ow! Crap!
Why?
Jeez.
It sounds so dumb.
Why did it come to this?
It's dumb. It's dumb. I hate it. How are you making the sound without opening your mouth?
Zach, something is still missing.
If he doesn't
We need
even
more
grunt to me.
clues.
Oh no. Not disliked and unsubbed. Surprise Poncho! I love Surprise Poncho. Okay, we have a gun that we shoot these things down. Okay, great. There's that one handle. And then we've got nope, that one. The Poncho Conjuring is very good. Anagram. You mean anagram. Her name is Anagram. I don't care if they're pronouncing it Anna. There's a good pun in there, and they've missed it. Do a nap. I hope you have a good sleep. Picture of a vest with holes. Great. I'm not profiling yet. It's not happening. Get me out of here. Also, I vaguely remember that bone icon. I don't remember why it's there or what we get from it. Excuse me. Yeah, the Pickles brand pickles. Just random bones? Why? Not fish bones. What if I just keep collecting pickles? Over and over. I can't. I have too many pickles. I vaguely remember us finding part of a skeleton. Or at least I remember, like, going to the bones and finding, like, weird evidence. I couldn't remember if it was actually, like, a skeleton, though. What is happening in this little tiny town? Well, we gotta find all of them. Obviously. That's clearly a thing we gotta do. Look at all that age on her. Look at all that age on her. Yeah, that sounds about right. It was like a whole ass body part, and it was wild. So how are we on rest? Like, used up about a third of our energy. Observe. Zach, look! A depression on the grass. I think we have a clue. 2 bent pieces of grass. Please. My tie just flailed a little bit. Just gonna stare at this picture? What are you doing, buddy?
Seen one of these in a long time.
Also, the range is cleared up?
It's upside down. I guess this is meant to be an anti-peace sentiment then.
These holes on the ground were made by high stiletto heels all around here. And this depression here, Agent Morgan, I see what happened here. He hung her from the tree and put on her shoes.
Why are you so quiet, George?
Really enjoying it. Sicko. He knelt down. And disgusting.
George, what?
George, you certainly have a vivid imagination. An interesting theory. Don't you think, Zach?
What was his name again? That Hollywood producer.
That's right. Joel. We really ought to introduce George to him, Zach.
Profiling is a little different from writing a screenplay, though. An idea being interesting doesn't make it fact. Let me enlighten you, George. The footprints reveal that one of the heels were missing from the shoes. And they're different from Anna's shoes that we saw at the office.
I had the windows open earlier. And
Furthermore,
it was a mistake.
There would be even more disgusting evidence if he did kneel and...
Hi, David.
Do as you suggested.
The music has changed
If you want
now.
proof,
You showed up, you pointed it out,
for
the music got
yourself.
scared. It's okay, we'll be back.
He knelt
Hi,
here
friend,
for a
how's it
reason
going?
other than simple perversion.
Zach,
Doing some profiling right now, it's great.
what was he doing in front of Anna?
It's shy, it's prone to being spooked, it's okay. It will come back. Hello, Raincoat Killer.
Anna. Ow! Crap! Jeez! I hate this. Why did it come to this?
Your shoe broke.
Now I get it.
Do you?
He was kneeling to pray in front of her. Just like the twins said. She was a goddess. The unsub.
I like how the
Armada
beard is
subject
starting to come in.
offered prayers to Anna's body. Its bitten out tongue, a massive body wound. Once dead Anna was transformed from an object of despite into one of worship. So who is Miss Stiletto Heels?
It's true, the game doesn't use papyrus
The
font.
steps
We
are
do
close,
appreciate
coming
that.
up to the body, and then farther apart going away.
There was a reason to hurry away then.
That settles it then, George. Miss Stiletto Heels is a third party here. She's not the murderer. No one runs away from an object of worship.
Plenty of people do, actually.
She could be
York.
another victim who was with Anna. Or perhaps an accomplice who fled for some reason.
We're getting
She
close
is
to
also one
the
who
mill
took
now, aren't we?
whatever it was Anna was holding on
Terrible
to
quick
in
time
her hand.
events.
But why? Why did she leave her here?
Only Miss Stiletto Heels knows the reason for that. She might know something about the man with the reversed peace mark, too.
Right? Like I'm I'm not wrong, right? The mill is coming up.
How many women wear high stiletto heels in this town, do you think?
Oh, I should think most of them have at least one pair. I do too,
Music's
before
back.
you ask. But nobody would come all the way out here wearing them, except maybe one person.
Don't keep me in the dark, then. Who might this elegant lady be?
Diane, the owner of the art gallery. But she's out of town for a big art auction. I heard she'll be coming back in a couple days.
Then we'll just have to give her a warm welcome home. A more immediate matter, then. Where in town can you find something like this? It should be a building that isn't used anymore, with either a lot of metal or metal machinery or something like that.
The old lumber mill.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's time to really get this show on the road.
We could probably get through the
Could you
lumber mill
guide me to
today,
this
which would be
perfect
really
setting
great.
for extravagant murder?
Because then we could just wander around and do stuff tomorrow. Which would be exciting. Only 240! Only $763 in total! I practically spent that much on crackers and coffee. Oh, that's fine.
The lumber mill is pretty far from here. If that's where she was killed, why would the killer go to all the trouble of carrying her all the way here?
I don't know yet.
Whoa.
My profiling instincts tell me one thing is for sure, though. The unsub's personality is totally different before and after the crime. The unsub killed her in a brutal, horrifying way, and then displays powerful adoration after
Right, I
she's
kind of
dead.
like the idea of being
Something
past
close
the
to
lumber
love.
mill.
That could well be the key to all this. I will say this, though, George. Profiling is a risky business. Of course, if the unsub planted those stiletto footprints himself,
I love
well,
how
then
exaggerated the
everything I've
like
just said
eyebrow
falls apart.
raises
But there's
are.
no
They're
evidence that
very
he left
good.
those stiletto footprints. I'm sure we have Miss Stiletto Heels to thank for those tracks. All I can do is deduce the unsub's feelings in light of the evidence, and carefully figure the unsub's MO,
Okay, can you
modus
stop saying
operandi,
unsub,
his
please?
way of thinking. It usually unveils something that a normal forensic analysis may overlook. That's my way of profiling. It's not for everyone, but it works for me.
Okay, let's just go to the lumber mill. Alright, let's just go. Let's go. Time to figure out how the heck to get to the lumber mill. Sorry, Mommy's being a goober over there. What are you doing? What is the... what is the rain doing?
When I first joined the force, this lumber mill was
Also,
still in
we
full
just have
swing.
It
unlimited
closed up right when I first moved here.
gas
And now
and
it's totally
health
abandoned.
I presume so. I've never really been inside, so I don't know for sure,
for
but
the car?
it sure is
Right,
run
we
down.
have infinite
Deserted
gas.
buildings are perfect for criminal hideouts and activities.
Here for
I
it.
keep telling Harry to have the place torn down.
Probably a little over that. After all, suicide of Anna's murder.
We don't know that for sure yet, Agent Morgan.
That's
No,
right.
we know that.
But the perpetrator selected the lumber.
Agent York, you seem very confident about this.
The game's not wrong, though.
Confidence is a sweet spot.
Do I just have unlimited ammo
I'm
and
just
health
drawing
for the
natural
car when
conclusions from the
George
facts that
and
we've
Emily are
That
in the car
sounds
with
exactly
us?
like being full of confidence. To at least me.
What is the car doing?
And to normal people with common sense.
Common sense can be the opposite of fact sometimes. Bear that in mind.
Oh, I will, Agent York. Thank you for another
Either way,
pearl of
we'll know for
wisdom.
sure by simply going to the lumber mill. So keep your pearls of wisdom to yourself, and let's hurry.
I was gonna be
Well
very
said,
upset if
George.
we got
Can
stuck.
you step on it, Agent York?
No, I cannot step on it. If I do, the car will flip over. Specifically for this bit for some weird. What's that? Okay, well it's fine. The lumber mill is not very far away. We're almost there. In fact, I think this was closer than the forest was, so that's a little frustrating, but that's fine. Whatever. I mean, it saw how I handled everything beforehand. It was like, yikes. Alright, this is fine. We got this. Let's just turn. This is fine. Oh. 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 Let me through. Let me through. How do I get over there? Please, parking lot. I need you to be laid out just even
Let's go. Find out if your facts can
semi-intelligently.
be trusted.
You're full of confidence, right? Let's get to the lumber mill.
I'm getting as fast as I can with the terrible rain ice physics and the general curviness of this road. Let's go. There, perfect. We've done it. 10 out of 10.
I'm going in alone. You two stay here. I can't concentrate on profiling with other people around me.
Now
You
hold
seemed to
on a
do
minute.
it fine
We're
earlier.
investigating this case together.
Listen, I can't risk the crime scene being compromised by you two.
What are you saying?
That
You're the only
sassy
professional law enforcement officer here, Agent
hands on
Morgan.
hip
We
movement.
know how to secure a crime scene.
I'm
George,
sorry.
you're terrifying.
That was rude. But this is how I operate. Furthermore,
Yes? Furthermore, what?
to me, the outsider FBI agent, every citizen of this town is a suspect. You two could be in on this whole thing for all I know. I have to keep suspects out of the crime scene.
How can you say such a thing?
Easily. Y'all are suspects.
Is he making fun of us? We should have left him behind and come here by ourselves.
You're right. I've never been so insulted.
Sorry, but I'm just doing my job.
It's fine. Jacket's just doing its thing. Is it bad when those kinds of things happen? I just don't even register it anymore. This is just what I expect of
Hear
this
that,
game.
Zach? If they're pros, then we should let every first-person shooter gamer out there join the SWAT team.
This, please.
Zach, they're here.
Code's 100% haunted. This is not the weapon I want. This is not the weapon I want. I want this. Thank you very much. Alright. We got 45 minutes to get through this terrible section. Let's go. York is throwing shade on Ernest, 100%. Please.
Nice shot.
So so weird. He's right there, York!
Nice shot. Amazing. Amazing. Great.
Oh my god. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Take it. Take it! York, put it in your inventory. Please, my guy. No, don't put it away. I have not told you to put the gun away.
Yes. Bullseye.
My goodness. Bullseye. Good job. Nice shot. Good one.
Amazing. Bullseye.
Again, just the little cheers that he does for himself. Very good. Honestly. Excuse you. Takes forever, but it's also, I also have unlimited ammo, so like, what are you gonna do about it? Hello, sir. I saw you. Should have kept running. Bust through that door. Alright.
Just as I thought, Zach.
Got that
This
song stuck in my
is
head.
where Anna was killed.
This is fine. Let's do this.
Hey. Come here.
That's why I usually just don't use the melee stuff, but I guess, like, I have so many melee items at this point, that I might as well use it to break the things. It's fine. Kissy sound low. Goodness. I'm just, like, so worried that I'm gonna, like, breeze through all my melee weapons really quick. Even though I'm not going to. The extended
Too much
smoke
noise.
blowing.
We're still missing a vital piece of the puzzle.
No, we know. We haven't looked around yet, York. Of course we're missing, like, items. We haven't looked around at all. My guy. Come on. Is that just the vines making that noise? Also, we got a submachine gun. And I think we're full up on ammo for that as of right now, so that's a thing.
Zach, it's almost like an altar.
Almost?
Was the murder some kind of ritual?
Okay. Well, that's cool. Monsters? Hello? Here's the thing. Can't keep this anymore. Have to clean up my... Oh, it's pipes. I see. I understand. It's locked. I need a key to open it. Why are we so dramatic? Everything about this game. Also, I use stamina to go up ladders? Are you kidding me? York, my buddy. Hey, friend. Not the vines. Not the ropey vines. Hello?
Where are you hiding?
Oh, fuck. I forgot about this. Reversed peace sign. I'm not gonna start profiling yet. We're not doing that. Right? I'm here. I'm here for the bad, late music stings. Lollipops. Let's go ahead and do a quick save. Yes. Smoked salmon. Ah, yeah. I love locker salmon. Got the key to the engineering section. Wonderful. I still not entirely sure why the vine showed up here, but hey, whatever. Delicious locker fish. Hello?
Yes.
Please. Why are we all so rude?
Bullseye. Bullseye.
Again, the aim on this is so wacky.
Great. Nice shot.
It's fine.
Amazing.
It's all fine. Nice.
Nice shot.
I have missed entirely. Was the... Oh, hi.
Bullseye.
Woof! Okay, they're just gonna endlessly come around, aren't they? Just use the key, buddy. Let's go through. The bad lumber mill. Let's leave. Please and thank you. What was that sound? It's rusted all over. Won't budge without a good whack. Any tools handy, Zach? I have a submachine gun. Would you like me to smack it with a submachine gun? I like how you can watch the lever go down, though. My goodness. Alright. Also, that thing drained fast. Oh, hello!
Bullseye. Yes.
Yes. Not the weird climbing up. Music stings very good.
Nice shot. Bullseye.
Ma'am. Okay. I'm really just determined to get through here at this point. I just want to be done with this area. I'm not looking forward to the QuickTime events, because I'm definitely not as familiar with the buttons on a Switch as I am with, like, an Xbox controller or a PS4 controller. So this is gonna be miserable to get through. But that's okay. We will do it. Baby? Baby? Not meat toilet. Oh God. Are we just gonna stand here? Nothing here of interest to me.
Bullseye. Yes. Amazing.
Bullseye. Nice. Yes. Amazing. Cool. Where are we going?
Bullseye. Great.
Great. Can we just be done? Oof. Is this pipe? This pipe is nowhere near ready to break. And that's unfortunate, really. Is there nothing here? Can't get through this rubble. We'll have to find another way, Zach. Alright. Another way. Let's go. You okay? Do you just... Pipe strong! But I want that. But I want that. I need this to break so I can get that crowbar. Hello? Who is grumbling down here? Actually, can we? Throw away? Why did you throw both of them? Whatever. You know what? It's fine. I want this crowbar. You got bar. Great. This laugh, though. Oh, the push. Okay, that's fine. You can stop pushing now. Never mind, you can't. You can't stop pushing. Why did it break? Doesn't look like a baby to me. Should probably, get my handgun out. You're not a baby! You're just a gearbox. There you, yeah. Definitely fight time. Let's go. Ouch. York, please. There we go. Are you done? You're also wiggly! My knife is gonna break soon. And that's sad. But fine. They actually lose a lot less health hitting obstacles than I would have anticipated. That's fine. I remember them remember thinking that they broke very, very easily when meat toilet. The last time we played this, but I could just be. We got some stabilizer from the toilet. We got some stabilizer from the toilet. Hey. Hey, toilet gave us an item. Good toilet. Hello? There was 100% stabilizer. Look, another meat toilet. What you got for me this time, meat toilet? Nothing. This meat toilet didn't have anything. But we did get a thing from a meat toilet. York, I need you to keep your weapons out. I have not told you to put anything away. Oh my goodness, that's not a meat toilet. That is a meat toilet, though. Meat toilets. And a flare. Now we can call another car if we need it. Wonderful. Got anything cool, meat toilet? No, that's okay. We had 2 good toilets this time around. I should probably heal up. Let's go ahead and use those. Do really want this to just break so we can be done with it. It is broken. Hey, hey, hey! Get your hands out of my mouth! What the hell? I forgot about that! Don't stick your hand in my mouth! Gross creature!
Great.
What? Coffee. I'm going to drink some of that coffee. Because we have too much already, right? It was black coffee, wasn't it? We are no longer tired. Well, we're tired, but not as tired. We weren't really that tired to begin with. But now we're even less tired. You get what I'm saying. And we got some bandages. Great. Hello? Up, 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 up. Hello?
Amazing. Yes. Amazing.
Fantastic. Not even an issue. Oh, yeah, okay. I have, like, no melee weapons anymore. That's not. Just shoot that a few times. Not even an issue. Were you concerned about it? Why are you concerned about it? Put that gearbox in there. Great. Gear fits the recess like a glove. We should be able to move the elevator now. Great, but I want to look around first before we do that. All barrels explode. Good to know. I'm gonna heal up again. I didn't think all barrels exploded, but here we are. That's fine. What's over here? Barrels. Right? I love those lollipops. That's it. I just got $30 over here. That's all. That's all that's there. Good to know. Great. You love to see it. Elevator time. Nothing of any interest to hear. To me, here? We're just getting that good paper smoke inside our lungs. Look, it's the nicotine-free option. Cigarettes, alright?
Huh?
Don't stick your hands in there. Don't stick your hands in there. I remember hating this last time as well. Please don't stick your hands in there. Gross. The elevator's gonna drop and you're gonna lose your hand, York. Hair. Damaged red hair. What texture is that? Bad? Bad texture? Okay, please let me equip my gun. Is that everything? Great. Great. Longest freaking elevator ride in the world. Let's go. Looks like the power's out. We'll need to restore power to move this elevator, Zach. Do we have to? But do we have to? But do we gotta? What if we were just not? What if we just didn't? Oh, fuck.
Yes.
Still standing? Oh boy.
Bullseye.
Okay. Bad hands. I don't have the item for this. There's no handprints around the part where a doorknob should be. Somewhat weird design, it seems. The music, though. Why so dramatic just for a door?
Bullseye. Yes. Bullseye.
More first aid kits. You love to see it. Hello? Bad maze. Oh, oh.
Great.
Get out of here.
Yes.
Agent honor, just for good measure. Oh, right, I have to shoot this off. That's fine. Let's get right up on it and do a shoot. hand. Let's just not with the timers. How about we just don't? How about we just don't? You got doorknob. It's a weird doorknob if you ask me, but hey, that's fine. Let's just leave. Hey, guy, if you just let me get out, we don't gotta deal with each other. And that sounds delightful. Not having to deal with each other's nonsense, right? Cool. Let's go. You open? There's things here. I haven't been checking any of these doors, have I? That's fine. Honestly, it's fine. Okay, I would like to leave. I would like to leave the mill. More than anything. Doorknob. Use the doorknob. Give it a firm handshake. Doorknob is shaped like a hand. Classy for a lumber mill. We'll need a little handshake to open the door. Do it. This is fine, right? Oh. I barely wiggled that. Nice to know you don't have to, like, go wild with it. Peeled off fake fingernail. Great. We're not profiling. It's not happening. No profiling. Ever. Let's go. We're gonna get chased. No profiling. Not yet. There's some agent honor back there, though. You kind of want that. Raids. Raids. You love to see it. Hello? I was far away from that, York! Whatever. Oh no. No sound? Hold on. I think my headphones disconnected. I love it when they do this. It's my favorite. I love it. I love when my headphones just decide not to be connected anymore. Hold on a second. They don't even, like, make a noise when they disconnect. Alright, it's back. This is fine. Get him, York! Wait, but there's a thing in here. Please, hop down. More coffee. We don't need it. Turkey sandwich? That is a dubious looking turkey sandwich. I do not trust it. This is the kind of sandwich that you would eat and then die immediately after. You wouldn't even be done, like, eating it, and you would just die. That turkey is purple! Turkey should not be purple. not, though. It wants you to think it is, but it's not. Speaking of eating, I should probably eat some food. We should consider doing an eat. Fresh eggs will satisfy a small amount of your hunger. I mean, like, I would hate to have, like, a full-blown, like, explosion in my ears when my headphones disconnect, but I would like some sort of, I think I would take that over not knowing that they've disconnected. And they don't do it terribly often, but it's often enough that it's just like, why are you doing this? Okay, great. We've eaten 2 cans of pickles and we feel fine now. Where did he go? Oh no. Ah! I hit the wrong button. No, I didn't. I hit the right one. Okay, we're good. No, no, no! Don't you no me. Get him! Where did he go? Sir? But yeah, I'll just be like minding my own business, playing games, watching shit, whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, all sound cuts out. It's like, what's going on? What's happened? Also, these groans. Hello? Anything? Oh my god, it's such a maze back here. Through the door. More bad water. We got another bar. Wonderful. We just not gonna... We're gonna slowly open this one, even though I was running it. I have to hide in here, don't I? This is the hide part, isn't it? Oh no. Yes, I would like to save. There's nothing here. White noise on the TV. Who turned it on, I wonder? Who indeed? Circuit breaker used to control the flow of electricity. The elevator should be back to running. Great. Where are you hiding? Stop, 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 stop. The confusion, though.
I see you.
Do you? Hi, friend. Hi, Nem. How was the last of your, how'd the last of your stream go? Am I not supposed to be in here? Yeah, we started playing this game a while ago, but I had the PC version, and it just kept crashing and got to a point where it was literally unplayable. So I've got the Switch version now, and I'm very excited to get back into it. Can I leave? But also no problem. I was happy to help. I see you. I see you. I see you, sir. There he is. Raincoat killer, just hanging outside the door. But yeah, I don't think I've met Keith yet. I don't believe so. Also, hi, Emmy! Nice. Can we hide in here? Let's hide in here. But yeah, it's deadly premonition time. Let's go. Sweet, I will try to be there tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff going on Sundays, but I will, at the very least, offer a good lurk. It was a lot of fun to watch your stream earlier, though. And I'm glad that it went well. This is Kingdom Hearts now? That's the Raincoat Killer! That's the bad man! He's gonna try and get us. He's coming in here, isn't he? Sir, I'm hiding here. You don't know that I'm here. I'm holding my breath. Hold it. What are you doing? I held my breath! Okay, good. Also, no Keyblades, not Kingdom Hearts. I was considering maybe streaming. Well, I guess I don't own Kingdom Hearts anymore, do I? Never mind. I was thinking about, like, doing some fun, stupid, drunk Kingdom Hearts in the Discord for New Year's. But I don't know if I'm ready to commit myself to that. We can talk about it. Potentially. We'll consider. But I hit the button! What is happening? Why are we breaking out from the entire— What is happening? Game! Where is he going? Yo! Sora! Hey? Hey, game? I can't, it's broken. It broke. No! Please! We've been doing so well! Our game! Oh no! Our game! It's broken! I can't do anything. Hold on. We did just save before this occurred. It's not your fault, Emmy. I think this is one of the few times where it's like, this is what we expected from this game. It's fine. Nat, hi! Hi, Nat! How's it going, friend? How are you doing? Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. The game decided to crash. I'll also take this. It's true, I guess. I don't know how he heard me, though, is the thing. We're doing good today. Stream's been going very, very well.
Previously during the investigation.
This is the first crash that we've had. Well, like, the first major issue that we've had with the game so far, which, again, I will take that, considering how often everything was crashing when we first played. We're two full streams in for Deadly Premonition, and this is the first issue that we've come across. Also, yeah, subtitles! I try to make my stream as inclusive as possible. The captions are not always super spot on, so preemptive apologies for that. I am trying to find a better closed caption program to use, but there are not many that are fantastic at live captioning. If people have suggestions or recommendations for good ones, let me know. But yeah, like I said, we try to make it as inclusive as possible. I don't know that if Sarah is still here or not, but hey Okami, how's it going? How are you doing, friends? Am I Vignance? Good. I'm glad that you appreciate them. I am happy to provide them for you. We're gonna hide here. We're gonna hide under here this time instead of the locker. But yeah, like I said, closed captions are not always super accurate, which is not great, but we do what we can. I think some of the issue is that I tend to like run my words together because I talk fairly quickly. But that's fine. It happens. Also, can we not get got this time? I'm glad we saved when we did. I didn't want to have to do any of this over again. But yeah, I'm glad you're doing well, Lee. Nat, sorry. Okami, how are you doing? How's it going? Are you just gonna wander around over there, bud? I'm not in there. You can't, I'm not in there. Good try, though. Good try. Sir, my stamina bar is filling up far too much. I need you to leave. You didn't hear me. I'm not here. How did you hear me? I am going through the sink. This is a problem. This is a problem. Get those closed captions going. Oh, I have died. I have died. At some point, I'm trying to, like, figure out how I want to get closed captions to actually just, like, show up on my screen at all times. Like, currently I have it set so that people can turn them on or off if they like, and they can, like, move them around on the stream, but I want to, like, actually incorporate it into the stream setup. I want to change things around, but that takes time and effort and inspiration, none of which I have at the moment. I have time. I do have time now, which is great. But yeah. Alright, let's get this phone to shut up. Please, phone. I am hitting the button that they want me to hit. Right? But that's okay. You don't have to be inspired. Do things all of the time. It is fine to take things at your pace and not push yourself to get things done if you don't have to. Figure I'll just like make tweaks to the stream as I feel fit. Where else can I hide? We can hide in those lockers. I guess I'll try to hide under here again. But yeah. That's great. Also, we're close to the end of stream, but I want to get through this. I want to get through this dang lumber mill. I can't leave now. Alright, whatever you say, York. I can't leave now. I'm just gonna keep checking that. You gonna try and throw that one open too? Nope, just the first one this time. Okay, I see. Oh, I think the issue the last time was I let go too soon. I see. I understand. Understood. I don't know what happened the very first time when we got shot into the void. But this last time was a me error. I just didn't hold it for long enough. That's fine. Can you go? I'm clearly not in here, sir. You just scoot along. Be gone. I need you to leave. Thank you. So angry. York, please. Less sound, more hide. Thank you. You know, this man can hustle when he really wants to. But when he just wants to wander, he is very good at just dragging his feet.
Zach, this is a waste of time. Let's go.
A waste of time, you say? But we did it. We did it. I'm gonna save again. My evening plans did get canceled, so we are going to press on ahead just a little bit because I think we're close to the end of the lumber mill, and if we can just be done with it so that we can wander around tomorrow and maybe even do the town meeting, that would be great. You probably shouldn't try to get in there. Why? Consider we do. York is something. Oh no. No. This is awful. Evade. Okay, I figured out what the button was. Up. Oh, okay. Okay, this is fine. This is not fine. Please. Why has he stopped? Why has he stopped? Oh god. Why? No! Push! Okay, this is weird and wild and wacky, and I would like to not be here anymore. Climb up! Go! Just get back to the elevator. My dude. Oh. I can't run any faster than I'm running. This is terrible. No! No! Open the damn door, York! Yeah, I love not being able to see in front of me. It's delightful. I love just having to guess. Oh, fuck. About what's going on. No. Go. Are you serious right now? What hit you? Oh no. This was the portion that this is the bit that I was dreading. Have we gotten through it? Did we manage to do it? Have we done it? Oh my god. There's another section though, isn't there? There's one more. I don't want to be here anymore. No. Please.
Yes.
Go.
Bullseye.
Be gone. First try. Actually, kind of. We did it. I need to go. We need to go. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. We're almost through. Okay, hold on a second. I am gonna heal up while we're thinking about it. we do our best. I just like so like I said, we have played this previously, and the last bit that we did was the town hall meeting, but I'm barely counting that because it was slow motion the entire time. We couldn't see what was going on. So pretty much like after this, it's all gonna be new. Please, 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 put me down, put me down. That's not what I meant, but okay. Why? I died. I defaulted to Xbox controls. That is not where Y is on a Switch controller. It's fine. We can do that again. It's fine. I'm glad it starts us just right here. Okay. Again, I'm less familiar with Switch controls. Why dodge? Good for you. Very good. Very good. Okay, okay. We've got it. We've got it. B. That's A. I hit A. Fucking hell. We're just gonna watch York die a couple of times. I don't understand you, Switch controller. Everybody loves QTEs. Are you sure about that? Why was that such a staple in like the early 2000s? Honestly. Who thought that that was a good idea? Okay, okay, we got this. I'm glad that they're the same buttons this time. Because they definitely were not. Okay, but DDR is delightful. Right! Fuck! I love DDR. I don't know that my knees would love DDR anymore. But you go into that expecting all your foot QTEs. I don't go into, I mean, I do now. I go into these expecting them, but I don't go into this wanting to do a quick time event. You know? This is fine. It's all fine. We'll just slowly string together what we have to do. And then it'll be B. And then it'll be right button. And then attack! Are you kidding me, or? Great. We've done it. It only took us 20 times. Excuse me. When am I marathoning the Quantic Dream games? Never. That's a Fahrenheit. Right? And I don't remember the string of numbers that come after that. Yeah. And shit, what is that game? Heavy Rain. That's what I'm thinking of. I do kind of love Heavy Rain, honestly. Just for how weird and wacky it is. We can discuss it. I'm pretty sure I have Heavy Rain and Indigo Project on PC and PlayStation. We can talk about it. Those are technically mystery games, right? Oh, so this poor lady.
That's all the information we need, Zach. Let's go back and show them what we found.
100%. Just, yeah, they're movies with QTs. I don't necessarily hate that style of game, though. Because arguably, that's pretty much like what Until Dawn and the Dark Picture anthologies are. I understand why a lot of people don't like it. I don't dig QTEs, but again, like, at least with those kinds of games, like, I go into it knowing that
Have
that's
you seen
what
any
the
of these things
entire game
before?
is.
No, not that I know
I
of.
hate coming into games like this, though,
But
where it's
that
like
raincoat is a little odd.
horror, action, or whatever. Any sort of
Odd?
like action game where
In
there
a
is a
town
bunch
where
of
it rains
other
so much?
there is a bunch of other
Well,
gameplay.
The people here rarely go out in the rain.
But
I moved here during high school, and
I don't
I
know.
never really understood why. Can you shed some light on this, George?
Oh, well, there's an old story, folklore. It's a fairy tale to me.
Right, yeah, no, they're
Something
definitely a
about
lot more
killer
fun
in a
to
raincoat
watch
who
them
appears on rainy
play.
nights.
But somebody
A
has
vicious
to
killer in a bright
take on
red
the
raincoat,
mantle of playing them, and I think I could handle
Just a
the
foolish
frustration
piece of
of that. I'll
superstition.
think on it.
A rubbish story someone
I
made
definitely
up.
want to do the other Dark Pictures.
Not many people
games.
still believe it, but I guess it's a traditional place.
And I know we kept talking about that, and then I forgot about them when
Most
we
of
were
the
trying to find a
shops
new game to
still
play.
close up when it rains.
But,
School's out too.
Yeah, no, if you can turn them off,
Since
too.
there's no reason to go out, not many people ever wear raincoats.
And now the raincoat
Again, I can
killer
tolerate
has
them if
leapt
I
out from
know
his
that they're
picture
gonna be there, but there's been so many games that I've like started playing.
book. Oh, by the way, would
I
you
didn't
two
expect them to
kindly
have
show
it.
me your backs?
And then suddenly
Our backs?
suddenly
Is this
there's
related to the
a
case?
quick time event.
The
Not
person with
about
the
that.
upside down peace mark in that photo we found.
But
He's our killer.
And what makes you so sure about that?
Zach and I saw him kill Anna in the lumber mill.
did you?
He killed her. Right in there.
You have
Oh, one thing.
inferred.
Please
that
don't
he
ask me
killed-
about Zach. That's a private matter.
Anyway, by showing me your backs, we can clear up most of my concerns about you.
I think we
Isn't
found
that
that
for the
photo
best?
at the.
You do want to remove yourselves from the suspect list.
Where we found.
It will make things a lot easier.
Anna's body.
This is
Anna's
insane.
body.
Your methods are rude, insulting, and out of the question. And Emily is a female officer. Forcing her to show you her back is harassment. I don't care if you are FBI or not. You are out of
Emily,
line.
your eyes are doing something weird.
George, it's okay. Let's just show him and get it over with.
Emily, are you crazy?
Look, we flash our backs and he'll start trusting us a little more.
That's presumptuous
Right.
of you.
Agent York?
She called him York. I mean, it was Agent York, but back. Lady back. She's so fucking white, my god.
Are you satisfied now?
Yes. My apologies.
Now you, George.
Yeah, okay. I can't refuse it now, can I? But don't expect to get your way all the time, Agent Morgan.
The little, My god, this man.
George.
No slow jazz.
What are these scars?
Just like your Mr. Zack. Something private. I don't have to tell you about it.
That's fair.
Of course. Just like Zach. We can understand that, right, Zach?
Anyway, this will make things a lot easier from now on. I'm glad to say you're both pretty much off the hook.
Great.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Can I get to a safe spot now?
If anyone is suspicious around here, it's him. He's the most suspicious.
No, I don't think so. but he certainly is the most irritating.
We've studied the crime scene.
Cue laugh track.
You know what we have to do next, Zach.
George, can we arrange to have the townfolk gather in one place?
I need to
There's
meet
some
Log
things
Lady.
I want to address with the townfolk.
Because there's definitely
Very
a Log
well.
Lady in this game. I remember freaking out about Log Lady.
I'll arrange to have as many as
Just like there's
possible
a Log
gather in the
Lady in
community
Alan
center
Wake.
tomorrow.
Thank you, George.
Again, cue laugh track. This is great. Again, this kind of puts us... There's 100% a Log Lady. There's always a Log Lady. I'm not saying that there's a Twin Peaks Log Lady. I'm talking about the archetype Log Lady. You know, that classic staple in all literature. Log Lady.
Welcome back, everyone.
Thomas.
Thomas.
Agent Morgan, it's past 2100. Let's meet up again at the community center tomorrow. I haven't been sleeping much since this all started, to be honest. I'm exhausted.
I guess we'll
I
call
was just
her
about
item
to suggest
lady
the
then.
same thing.
The archetype.
I'll make arrangements for
lady.
people to gather between 1500 and 1700.
Great.
I'll try and get as many people as I can to come, so don't be late.
Great.
Okay? Don't be late.
I will
be
be
there.
late. 100% I will be
The
late.
community center's on the south side. I've marked it on your map.
Thanks,
Great.
Thomas.
I have a shitty
then.
map.
See you tomorrow.
Everyone is so blocky now. Can we find a telephone? Please and thank you. There has to be one around here, right? Like, hello? Telephone. There's no telephone here. This is extremely unfortunate. I think it did. I think George's voice did change. We have manifested a poncho! Gotta think like a telephone. If I were a telephone, where would I be?
Smiley
Smiley.
Fusion is raiding with a party of 15. Kaysh and the gang welcome you.
This is, mildly unfortunate, because we're getting ready to end. But thank you, Smiley, for the raid. Hello, friends. Welcome in. It's wild here. Let me pause and hop on over here real quick. Oh no. You're gonna be able to hear the bad sounds. Hold on a second. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. There we go. Hello, friends. Welcome, and we are trying to find a save point, so you can hang out with us for a couple of minutes while we do that. Thank you, Smiley, for the raid. Big thank you. And thank you for Emmy for getting that shout out there. How was everybody wham wham? It's true, the mixing even affects the stream. How was wham slam? Slam clam. Thank you, ma'am. Hi, friends. Welcome in. I'll do a quick introduction. I think a lot of you know who I am, but if you don't, my name is Kayshurrr. I'm a queer horror and mystery streamer. We play lots of spooky games here. Wham wham is amazing. Nice. Everybody wham whammed. Aw dang. Aw dang. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you did better this time. Fantastic. But yeah, like I said, we play spooky games here. I do offer content warnings for every single game that we play, because we like to make sure that you're making informed choices about the kind of content that you are participating in. Some word in there for a thing. This is an 18+ stream. I say fuck a lot, and again, the kind of content we play is a little on the mature side, but it's fine. We're currently playing Deadly Premonitions. It is a wild, weird, wacky game. Like I said, we are trying to find a save point, because we are ending, and there's a save point right there, actually. Save point's here. That's a boost, not the accelerator. The controls are weird, the game is funky, it's wonderful, and we love it. But yeah, like I said, we are ending I usually stream for 3 hours on the weekends, but we went a little over
Is
because
there
I wanted
something
to
here
get
that you want to check
through
out? We need to be at the community center by
terrible lumber
1500
mill
today.
that we just dealt with.
Just think of talking in front of all those people.
Hey, York.
Get fun.
Say hello to people. So yeah, we are gonna set up a raid since I have saved now. We'll just put the Switch in sleep mode. Again, big thank you, Smiley, for the raid. I really appreciate it. For bringing your friends over. But we are gonna find somebody else to hang out with now. Does anyone have any recommendations? I think I've got folks on, but I have no idea who. But I am always willing to check out new folks, meet new friends. We love doing that. Let me see. Who do we have online at the moment? I've got a few folks on. Sinnoh Beats is doing some Dead by Daylight. Lollyflux is doing some Overwatch. Uncanny Queers are doing some tarot readings, I believe. And it looks like Bunno is doing some Teamfight Tactics. Y'all want to go say hi to Bunno? Otherwise, if anybody has any recommendations, we are more than happy to go check out some new folks. I think Teamfight Tactics is a Dota. I'm pretty sure it's a Dota, Fruity. But it's Bunno, and we love Bunno. Oh my god, I smell food. Alright. If you got a suggestion, Fruity, I'll take it. I don't see offering anything up, though. I'm gonna start the raid for Bunno. I don't think any of us have turned into Dota nerds. I think we always were Dota nerds. But anywho, if you are going to come on the raid with us, there are our raid messages. The first one is for anyone. It's got global emotes on it. Otherwise, that second one is for if you were a sub. It's got our personal emotes on it. Thank you again, Smiley, for the, for the raid. I'm sorry that we're not going to be here for much longer. We're not bite hiders, and even if we were, I thought you would like that. That seems like a thing that you would dig, Fruity. Anyway, we're gonna go say hi to our friend Bunno. They're delightful and fantastic. And they're doing some Teamfight Tactics. Anywho, thank y'all for being here, saying hello, stopping in and saying hi. Yeah, we'll see y'all next time. I'll be back tomorrow in the evening with more Deadly Premonition. It's going to be fantastic and exciting and lovely, and I'll see you then. Until then, take care of your dang selves. Have a good rest of your time zone. Goodbye, friends.